the Venice Film Festival in 1951, a motion picture from Japan called Rashomon debuted in the West. For most moviegoers, this was their first introduction to the heritage of Japanese cinema. Daring in non-linear form, audacious in purpose, Rashomon was unlike anything audiences had ever seen. The staggering story of a crime told from multiple points of view was about nothing less than the prismatic nature of truth. When the film won the Golden Lion Award in Venice, only then was the world properly introduced to its creator, Akira Kurosawa. This imposing giant contributed innumerable acts of cinematic brilliance over the span of his nearly 60 years in motion pictures. From costume dramas, literary marks, and contemporary narratives, Kurosawa's footprint is vast. Trained to be a painter, his brushes with color and perspective can be seen throughout his films, starting with his directorial debut, Sanshiro Sugata, in 1943. It's a film in black and white, but even so, the attention to gradation of light and shadow reveals the artist within the director. Sanshiro Sugata is a simple tale about the rivalry between judo and jiu-jitsu. But not content to present just a popular action story, Kurosawa made it into an introspective look into one man's journey to understand his own humanity. In one scene, Sanshiro's mentor berates him for a reckless demonstration of martial arts. Ashamed, Sanshiro leaps into a nearby pond and remains there for hours. Alone and confused, soaked with cold, he learns the intrinsic value of humility through an action that makes no sense intellectually, but resonates spiritually. It's an act that complements the corporeal power of Sanshiro in motion. He's baptized in the elements for a drop of wisdom. Kurosawa's cinema is a restless dance of earth and wood, water and fire, forged metals and the boundless wind. Always present is a consciousness of man's relationship to the dirt below and the blue above. How do we fit into this world? How are we shaped by it? Are we ever as big as the trees around us? The fearful bleats we've made in the dark and our triumphant howls in the light, are they as ungoverned by time as the oceans? To Kurosawa, we do not move mountains, they move us. Within this theater of roiling earth and sky, Kurosawa told stories that streak across dusty stages of history and myth. For the 1954 epic Seven Samurai, Kurosawa recreated 16th century Japan with a meticulous expenditure of time and money. This was a fictional story, but it was emblematic of other true tales of great upheavals and brutal collisions between unmovable forces. The dynamic editing, the thundering sound, and precise compositions of everything vital all frame a tapestry of kinetic energy. But it's not just Kurosawa's skill as a filmmaker that makes Seven Samurai stirring. In the mud and the blood, we learn the tenderness of his heroes. The cauldron of imperative, violent action reveals their true selves. Filmmakers have tried to recapture Kurosawa's furious blend of motion and emotion ever since. As often as he went to the past, Kurosawa also turned to literature for his next chapter. 1951 saw the release of The Idiot, based on Dostoevsky. In 1957, it was Maxim Gorky's The Lower Depths. That same year, he transposed William Shakespeare's Macbeth into a haunting and unnerving allegory of unchecked power and savagery called Throne of Blood. And for 1963's High and Low, he adapted American writer Ed McBain into a race-against-time thriller pitting a wealthy industrialist against a faceless kidnapper. These pictures weren't just plucked from pages. They shot out like an arrow and struck the eye as something wholly different and unique, all the while attesting their respective sources. The elements, the written word, the wardrobe and production design, the camera and the cutting. Kurosawa's cinema was a symphony of many parts. In 1948's Drunken Angel, a drama about an alcoholic doctor caring for a criminal suffering from tuberculosis, another integral measure of Kurosawa's concert was the casting of two powerhouse stars, Toshiro Mifune and Takashi Shimura. This was Mifune's debut under the Kurosawa banner. Suave and feral, his gangster was a lion, caged by innate decency. Kurosawa and Mifune would make 15 more films in the coming years. In 1960's The Bad Sleep Well, Mifune played a serene executive assistant harboring white-hot hate and a coiled plan of vengeance against his employer. Next year's Yojimbo, Mifune first appeared as his signature character, a wandering, shabby samurai who was dignified, moral, and if need be, lethal. He played the role again in 1962's Sanjuro, cementing his international stardom. Mifune and Kurosawa's last film together, Redbeard, in 1965, is a study of a noble, irascible physician mending the sick and the poor in a rural clinic. Unyielding and exacting with care, the most lasting gift is his teaching of compassion amidst the paucity of true goodness. Takashi Shimura was more character actor than star. Appearing in 22 films for Kurosawa over the course of his long career, he was an exceptional and respected part of Kurosawa's cinema, versatile and willing to bend his performance to the needs of any part. In 1949's Stray Dog, he was a veteran detective. In Rashomon, the pivotal woodcutter. And he was the Seven Samurai's steadfast leader, patient in peace and an anchor in battle. But in 1952's Ikiru, perhaps Kurosawa's most humane film, Shimura is stunning as a dying, meek man struggling to find meaning under the shadow of his own death. He does so in facilitating the construction of a simple playground, an act that merits him no attention or accolades, but a way of leaving this world a better place. Nothing is lost in translation of this story, as it speaks a universal message of affirmation. Across landscapes of professional plenty and personal want, Kurosawa took his place as a colossus in the pantheon of filmmakers. His titanic masterstrokes of music and movement, color and composition, rich shadows and rising suns transcend boundaries of country and culture. They speak to us today, living and breathing in the present, as gauges to our own nature. Kurosawa's cinema bursts with lessons about histories and homelands that reveal the extraordinary things lying in human hearts. Our frailties and fears, gifts and graces. We are his students. He is the sensei.